The Supreme Court has blocked the Trump administration's efforts and their plan to roll back DACA. That means that DACA will remain in place for now. The Supreme Court, I'm going over this opinion now, it decided that the rescission of DACA must be erased. That was something that the Trump administration tried to do, rescind DACA. The Supreme Court saying the Trump administration cannot do that, saying that the Department of Homeland Security was arbitrary and capricious in its decision to roll back this program. Now, this was argued over because the Department of Homeland Security initially issued a memo grounding this rescission on legal grounds rather than policy grounds. It was a later memo where then Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen actually said it was based on policy. But the Supreme Court saying here that the Department of Homeland Security did not roll this back in the right way, and therefore DACA must stand. This is no doubt a huge relief for those 700,000 plus DACA recipients. We have some of them outside the Supreme Court now, a very small number as opposed to how many were here back in November when this was argued. I spoke with some of the DACA recipients back in November, and they told me that this was crucial. Keeping DACA in place was crucial because they depended on it. One woman I spoke to had 2 young children who were born here in the United States. She was brought here when she was 14 years old. She lives and works on Long Island. She pays taxes. She has renewed her DACA status every 2 years. She feels like she is an American. And this was a program that was put in place by President Obama in 2012. So we're looking at 8 years of DACA recipients relying on this program. We're still looking into the exact vote count here. I still have to go through that, but we do know that at oral argument, Chief Justice John Roberts, he said that while the Trump administration may have been able to do this, perhaps if it was done in the right way, there also needed to be some humanitarian concerns here because these people, these DACA recipients, have relied on this program for the past 8 years. They've set up their life here, they work here, they pay taxes, they've had children here. So to all of a sudden roll this back really seemed like an inhumane injustice. And that was something that it seemed at the time of oral arguments in November that Chief Justice Roberts was trying to balance, to really look to that humanitarian response that we got. You know, I spoke with some of those dreamers. They marched here to the steps of the Supreme Court from New York City. They marched for days in oftentimes bad weather. It was raining actually the morning of oral arguments here. They were committed to this. They were passionate about this. And today, the Supreme Court handing them a win, saying that the Trump administration, as it was done, cannot in fact roll back the DACA program established by President Obama.